Joe Burrow announces he is back for the Ravens game on Thursday. We'll also go over some injury updates on Adisa Isaac, who had a setback. We'll talk about Kyle Hamilton's chance of playing Thursday. Lamar Jackson now has a toe injury. We hear from John Harbaugh, who speaks on Emery Jones Jr. chance of playing. Terrell, Suggs, and Marshall Yanda are Hall of Fame semifinalists, and we'll preview a little bit of the Ravens-Bengals game this Thursday. All that and more in today's episode of the Flock Rundown.
Ravens Flock. Flock Rundown is the place to be.
Motionless brainwaves attempt to swim their way to sense, can't tame the untamed.
What's up, Ravens fans? My name is Ryan, and welcome into another episode of the Flock Rundown. Short week, not a lot of practice this week. They had a walkthrough estimation yesterday, so the injury report is just an estimation. But Rashad Bateman was limited with an ankle. I think he should try and go this Thursday. Taven Bryant was out with a knee. I think he's going to be on short-term IR, according to Harbaugh. Kyle Hamilton did not practice with that ankle injury that he suffered in the last game against the Jets. Lamar Jackson now dealing with a toe injury and was a DNP. Travis Jones, ankle DNP, and Keon Martin, rib, was limited. Like I said, this is a walkthrough estimation. There's no real practice, so not freaking out by any means. Harbaugh did talk about the Kyle Hamilton injury, and I think that's the guy who's most questionable for Thursday with that ankle. Harbaugh didn't seem too excited about it, but said that he does have a chance on Thursday, hoping Kyle can get out there. And then the real takeaway from the injury report is Lamar Jackson is now dealing with a toe injury. So he had a hamstring injury that put him out for over a month, then ankle injury, knee injury last week, and now toe injury. So Lamar Jackson's definitely battling some stuff going through it. Harbaugh said he's fine. I mean, I expect Lamar to be out there on Thursday, but he's definitely fighting through a lot of little nagging injuries that keep popping up, and I'm sure that they're playing into each other. You know, I'm not a doctor, but usually when something's hurt, all of a sudden other parts of your body get a little bit weaker, and he's just continuously kind of fighting through a lot of nagging injuries. So hopefully Lamar heals up, but I don't expect him to miss Thursday by any means. I mean, it's a big game on Thanksgiving. I definitely think Lamar's out there. I don't think any of these injuries are too serious, but it's definitely something to monitor that he's now dealing with a toe injury on top of everything else. And then we did get an update on Adisa Isaac, who Harbaugh said had a setback. So I'm not expecting to see Adisa Isaac at all this season.
He's not closer now. Yeah, I think we thought he was going to have a chance here in the next couple of weeks, and it had a setback.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. We got plenty of good matchups this week, and this year I've teamed up with DraftKings Sportsbook to bring you guys an incredible offer. New customers bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins. New customers turn $5 into $200 if your bet wins, paid in bonus bets. The crown is yours. Stay in on the action and use your bonus bets on DraftKings Same Game Parlay for a shot at an even bigger payout. And make sure when you guys are signing up that you use my promo code TFR. And John Harbaugh was also asked directly about Emery Jones Jr. and his chance of playing, and he said that he is not ruling out a rotation.
Just go back to Emery. Is that a situation where you could maybe see a rotation at some point, or is that something you prefer really not to do?
You know, I think everything's on the table. We've done that before. We were probably one of the first teams that started rotating linemen, if you remember. That was kind of unheard of. When did we start? 3, 4, 5 years ago? We did it a few times. So definitely not opposed to doing that.
So that is promising news, and I know he's been talking about this, but we've actually seen some progression. Last week, they had Ben Cleveland as a healthy scratch, and they activated Emery Jones Jr. for the first time. So that does tell you that there's some validity behind those words. For a lot of the season, we heard Harbaugh say things like that, but there was no action behind it. You know, Emery Jones Jr. was not even activated on game day, so you're like, okay, you're kind of just dreaming about the potential of it. But the fact that he was activated last week, and now Harbaugh's backing it up saying, hey, we're not ruling out a rotation. We're not ruling out that Emery's going to start this season. That is big news, man. I would love to see a rotation out there. Let's just see what Emery's got. I'm not saying that you have to start him all game. He might not be ready. You know, we haven't seen Emery. He's a rookie. He might not be a better option than what we have out there. I think he is, if I had to guess, but we haven't seen any real film on it. So who knows? You know, my guess is as good as anyone else's. But I would like to see a rotation at least, because then we can get some film without high risk. You know, you get a guy out there on some reps, and you get to see what he can do. And if he looks looks a lot better, then he can start. But I think a rotation is the first answer, and I think we might see that pretty soon, man. In some other Ravens news, Terrell, Suggs, and Marshall Yanda are officially Hall of Fame semifinalists. I would expect them both to be finalists. I think they both deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. Shout out to those guys, absolute Ravens legends. You know, my standard for offensive line play is so high because of a guy like Marshall Yanda. We watched Marshall Yanda play for so many years, and then now we're looking at the guard situation that we currently have, and it's such a downgrade, and I think our standard's so much higher because of Yanda. So it just shows how great Yanda was, how consistent he was. He battled through so many injuries. And then Terrell Suggs, man, I mean, there's not much debate there. This guy's a two-time Super Bowl champion, one with the Ravens, one with the Chiefs, you know, top 10 in sacks. This guy's a freaking nature and was a part of a lot of all-time defenses on the Ravens, man. Terrell Suggs and Marshall Yanda both deserve to be in the Hall of Fame this year. And some non-Ravens legends, but former Ravens that are on this Hall of Fame list is Steve Smith Sr., Willie Anderson, and Earl Thomas. And then taking a look at this Thanksgiving matchup against the Bengals, Joe Burrow did post on his IG, he's back. And by all means, he's been practicing in full. I'm not surprised at all. I expected Joe Burrow to be back, and we'll see what he's got out there. I know he's going to be limited in some fashion. He's definitely not going to be fully healthy. That was a very quick turnaround for how serious that injury was, but definitely going to see Joe Burrow out there. Definitely going to see Jamar Chase, who's back off the suspension. T. Higgins is dealing with that concussion, so I don't know if we'll see him or not, but the Ravens are favored by 7 coming into this game. And this is going to be a big test for the Ravens defense, who's been playing really strong ball for 6 weeks now since that Rams game, and we're going to be tested, I think, the most since that Rams game with the high-powered offense like Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and the Bengals have. I know their Bengals defense is not great. It's one of the worst defenses in NFL history, and once again, I said this last week, but I hope this is an opportunity for this offense to get back on track. I do have confidence that this offense will turn it around. You know, earlier in the season, we're relying on the offense heavily. The offense is dominant, and the defense was terrible, and then now the defense has been playing really, really good ball for a while now, and the offense is kind of lagging behind, but I think the offense is going to get back on track. Obviously, we have some offensive line concerns, but I think everybody can play better, even with the current roster that we have out there. They can play to a higher level than they are. They've all said that out of their mouths. You know, all the players who spoke to the media this week are like, we need to just execute better. We can take this to a higher level. I agree. I expect this offense to put up some points, man. You're going against one of the worst defenses in NFL history. Let's go out there and put up some points, and then hopefully this defense can hold and get some pressure and continue to do what they're doing. I mean, Draymond Jones and Mike Green have been unbelievable. The addition of Draymond Jones has been awesome, man. That is I was excited about that trade, but it's worked out 10 times better than I even thought, man. Draymond Jones is a beast, and we are consistently getting pressure. We're making quarterbacks uncomfortable. Joe Burrow's first game back, he's probably not going to be able to be super mobile. I think we got to continue to get pressure on him. I think this defense is going to get tested. You know, maybe they score more points than other teams have been the past few weeks, but I still think that we need to hold this team under 24 and this offense get back on track. I think the Ravens get a win on Thanksgiving night at the bank. I'll be there. I can't wait. I hope to see you guys there as well. And let me know what you're thinking about this matchup and just everything that's going on right now. Appreciate you guys, as always, for tuning in to another episode of the Flock Rundown. Have a beautiful rest of your day, and I'll let the greatest linebacker in the history of the game take us out.
Ravens Flock. The Flock Rundown is the place to be. My man Ryan has been a lifelong Ravens fan since he was born. So I'm telling you now, it's about to go down. The podcast, the Flock Rundown. Ravens, baby. Nothing gets better than waking up and wondering how high we can fly. Tune in.